I'm wondering if you think the events of this weekend will prompt a kind of a culture change in men's golf as it relates to discussing mental health, because as we all know from spending time out there, there's more of a bravado culture around golf and the individual athlete. But we have this tragic incident over the weekend. We have a commissioner who last year talked quite candidly about taking a break to address his mental health last summer. Does that conversation need to happen for players?
I think so. And I think that that message has been sent out over the last year or so in our society in general, where, hey, we want to check on our friends or family members. And for those who are struggling, as Grayson said, even last year, I'm accepting the fact that it's okay to not be okay. But I think professional golf, the PGA Tour especially, and maybe down to the Korn Ferry Tour, the PGA Tour champs and so on, it's a different animal than the athletes that we see in the other major sports like Major League Baseball, the NHL, the NBA, the NFL. Why? Well, those athletes travel together as a team. And in their season, they're spending half of that season at home. For PGA Tour players, and yes, they have caddies, they have coaches, and therapists there, mentally coaches and so on. But and you could call that a team, but ultimately the player, the individual, is the one that is performing by himself, making the shots, trying to make the shots. And with that comes a lot of pressure. There is that internal pressure, the external pressure that you are on this island by yourself. And as we have talked about over the years, you have to eat what you kill. Your salary, your family's future is based specifically on how you perform. You're not under a guaranteed contract. So with that comes a lot of pressure. And then there is that travel. These players travel all over the world. And yes, I'm not discounting the fact that they have advantages and they make a lot of money doing what they're doing. But there is a giant loneliness aspect to that as well. I can't begin to tell you how many players I've talked to that have told me I miss my child's first steps, first words, anniversaries, birthdays, and so on. So if you're not mentally equipped to cope with that, some are and some aren't, then that can be very challenging. And if you've got issues, then that magnifies the problem. Grayson Murray was a good soul, and definitely he is going to be missed.
Rex, the commissioner, Jay Monahan, on Saturday said he's proud of the programs that the PGA Tour has in place to support its players. What have you seen in covering, for example, a Chris Kirk who's been very open about his own struggles? Does he have a support system when he travels, for example?
Yeah, Damon, I'll go back to last fall when Chris Kirk was awarded the Courage Award by the PGA Tour. He talked endlessly, a lot about his struggles with alcohol, his struggles with depression. Those stories were pretty well known. And when he got the award, I had a chance to sit down and talk with him. And to Todd's point, in the best of times, even when you're playing well, it can still be a very lonely sport. You are on an island. You're in the hotel room by yourself. You're out on the golf course essentially by yourself. And sometimes you can't do anything about it. And in this particular case, Chris Kirk talked about the idea that he had to be the gladiator, or he felt like he had to put the mask on when he was on the golf course and not make it look like anything was bothering him. And then he couldn't talk with anybody when he was off the golf course about some of these things he was going through. So when people started to find out that he was struggling, it was a huge shock. And it wasn't, Chris told me, until after he came out and told his friends everything he was going through, that he sort of got that support structure around him. And I saw it at the awards ceremony at the RSM Classic. There was probably 5 or 6 players and caddies and everyone else in the room there for him, and they're there for him every single week. He doesn't stay in a hotel room by himself. He shares a house. He always has people around him. And I think that's the important connection here.
We appreciate the reporting of Todd Lewis and Rex Hoggard on what is a very difficult story. And if you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, help is available. Please call or text 988 to reach someone at the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Grayson Murray courageously talked about the struggles in his life and talked about his journey to turn his life around. Our condolences to his family. Grayson Murray was 30 years old.